Nubook 1, From Then to Now, Part 41. Rebazartars stood up, and did a slight bow, and so did I. Then we went out into the courtyard again. "When we leave here, we will first be entering a zone of darkness that divides the lower worlds from the real universes," he said. Then we flew upwards, above this wondrous world upon worlds, and into a bluish gold sky with a huge bright sun. We travelled for a ways, until we came to the area we were to go through. "The deep dark border," said Rebazartars as he motioned. Rebazartars entered first, and then I followed. All of a sudden, everything was very black, except for our light beings. We were now a light unto ourselves. As I thought about the earthly scriptures in this moment, it was a rather interesting experience where we were. Rebazartars said this was a place that most thought to be the end of all life, and was considered to be a nothingness, an endless void. But actually, this is the point where each soul wants to get to, so they can become new, as this is merely the real start of the journey. We continued on through the dark gloom, and floating through the darkness, over what seemed to be water, until all of a sudden I began to see a little light up ahead. It started off small, but soon grew until we entered the 7th level. All at once, and with an amazing recognition of where I was at, we finally arrived at the first part of our real destination, the 7th level, and the real home of our radiant being. As we did, we came out of the total darkness into the most unbelievable light of an awesome universe. At first, the light was so blinding I could hardly stand it. It took me a moment, and then I did see this marvellous sight to behold. There is no real way to describe what I was experiencing as I became aware of this true reality. There was so much light everywhere that it took me a moment to adjust. When I did, standing in front of me was Shis Hara-Yu. "Hello, Goldie. Welcome home," she said in the loveliest voice. "Am I really here, or is this all a dream?" I asked. "You came from the passing dream, where you were dreaming in the lower levels, and now you are all aware," she said, taking my hand and helping me to adjust. It took a few moments to realize the difference of being in this incredible position. It was so amazing. The light here is so pure and radiant, and it was everywhere and everything. Looking around, I was not familiar with the huge structures that I saw, but I could see that they were made of a silvery gold almost entirely. Just by being in this new position, my awareness was expanding and becoming capable of realizing far beyond what my outer personal self could ever know. Schiss explained to me what the huge golden structures are. They are immense palaces, Goldie, just like on the earth, and they are your colour, and you and I have our own, she said. From what I had learned on the earth, there is no way I could ever describe this region and all that was in it. Once I crossed over to this real universe, I was so brilliantly illuminated, brighter than any sun that I have ever seen. Schiss and Rebazar were radiant beings beyond description, and there were so many more beings who were the same everywhere. It was like being amongst all the stars in the heavens. Everyone was so radiant. I stood for the longest time, which there really is none at this level, and watched all the beautiful beings pass and go about their affairs. After a while, Rebazar led us over to a huge lake, or what appeared to be one. He said that it is filled with the living waters that are the eternal aliveness for all beings who have earned their way here to have and enjoy. The waters flow from here to all the areas that make up this great universe of the ears, said Rebazar. This is the universe of the great overseer of ears, the unique manifestation that provides for all who reside here. He is one of the many true beings from the great reality, who oversees this reality and supports all with the real light and sound. His position is to take care of those who have established themselves here. You are now one of the few Earth people who has come this far. You can now consider yourself to be an eternal being of this real universe. You will take back with you the great knowledge and real experience that you will gain here, and then tell the people of Earth there is so much more to life than just tending to their body until it vanishes from them, said Rebazar. It was very plain to see, and actually perceive, that this universe had become so, from the eternal awareness of the great overseer of the great reality. This was an incredible verification of the real trueness life is. This defined position was so wonderfully abundant with everything that was of the most pleasing and gracious experience. I would say the beings here were more than gods themselves, as they displayed their brilliance, which radiated constantly. There was a constant aroma in the air, a sweetness that came from all the different trees and flowers that were everywhere. It was hard for me to imagine how all this came about, especially the jeweled trees that were everywhere, with singing birds and their sweet melodies. Rebazartars said that all was to be enjoyed and loved according to the reality it is, and everything is for all the beings who have made their life here. There is a constant aliveness within this universe, unlike the lower ones we had moved through. I discovered there was no darkness here, or evil, or wrong-doing, that everything is pure and real, and that the lower realms are a pale reflection of this incredible place. In all my life, I could never have imagined that there were so many colours as there were in this world. I tried to count them, but it was useless, because there would always be more that would appear and disappear into the silvery light that emanated from everywhere. There was no boredom here, or the drudgery of having to work for anything. Whatever one needed was readily available. This is the real heaven that all people are seeking, said Rebazartars. Most are led to believe the lower realms are the real heavens, and the governors who rule them are the gods their scriptures speak of as the ultimateness. Most people are trapped by the rulers of the first two heavens and persuaded to return to earth for more lifetimes, thinking the earth is what their God has planned for them forever. You are now having real experience in a place that is beyond what the mind and senses can comprehend. What words can describe this position of being isness? You have now taken the real journey into the trueness that can only be realized within each one of us. The written word should lead a person to what is real, and then the real universal guides will assist with the journey home. After being on this journey, I was better prepared to understand what was really taking place. From the limited awareness that anyone has with the physical body. All the precious things that have value on the earth, and so much more, are found here, and radiate the various colours from their source. They are made of gold, silver, emerald, crystal, coral, pearls, and too many others to mention. This is what is known as a lotus flower, Goldie, said Rebazartars, as he pointed to a huge plant that was as big as a house, and there were many that were even bigger. On earth they are rather small in comparison, but here they can even be miles wide. I did see many of them that were beyond the reach of my sight, that were spread far and wide. They had all sorts of colours, and were brilliant with light, moved from the centre of the flower and then outward, and as they did, there would be a radiant being, who are a part of the light that streamed out into this unknown universe. These great beings have served their time in the lower worlds, as you are doing now. They have earned their way to this wonderful place, and are now free forever. The true reality is what each being has within them already. When the real you decides to take the journey home, the real guides will assist until the real you reaches this universe, the 7th level, said Rebazartars. I continued to be amazed at everything I was seeing. Everything here is so perfect, and the awareness of this level is so great and incredible, that I was constantly filled with a joy and enthusiasm beyond anything that exists on earth. I could know anything I wanted to, and anything I wanted was of a beneficial nature. My being was absorbing an awesome awareness at a staggering pace, and what was being realized was not prevalent to the meaning of things that applied to the lower realms, according to the mind and senses, even though what I perceived could apply anywhere. I knew what was taking place, but to relay it or write about it was something that I would have to figure out when I returned. From the position I now had, I didn't want to ever return. All the levels I had been through were basically forgotten compared to this one. I had to keep reminding myself that I was in reality and not dreaming, because everything here is so wonderful and so perfect. The beings here are far beyond the saints that the earth had come to know. Rebazartars said that so many of the figures in human history were only students of the real guides. Those who are in training to become one of us must first prove themselves by going out and presenting what they have learned from their training, to see if they can weather the storm from the human awareness of how life is thought to be," said Rebazar Tars. "There are so many wonderful rivers here that flow everywhere through this endless universe. They are all different shapes and sizes. There is a sound here that I was not familiar with. It was so haunting and cleansing. Rebazar Tars said that it was the sound similar to bagpipes, an instrument that is used in other countries on the earth. Drinking the waters here transforms you into the desire to reach beyond even this world, into the real unknown higher levels. I took a drink, and I could feel the wonderful difference. I was lured in my awareness to go further within myself, but I wanted to stay and see so much more of this place that had unlimited joy and bliss. I felt like a young child, free of any care or want. In the human mind, it is very hard to even consider that a place like this could even exist. Rebazar Tars said that it takes millions of lifetimes to get to the position of realizing there is more to life than the material bodies we are so used to. Everywhere I looked, there were radiant beings that enjoyed all that this place had to offer. The beings here are the most amazing part, and whatever they want they can have. The palaces, as Rebazar Tars called them, are all over the landscape and in endless scenes. We came across an area that was like a retreat, a large area where many beings gathered. It was covered with the greenest golden layer of grass that spread itself everywhere. Shis stood with me as we explored the vastness of this real universe. "I have never seen such a vibrant greenness," I said. "Everything is so pure and good here." "Come and see our palace, Goldie, the one you and I have for ourselves," said Shis. Rebazar Tars went off with some of the other guides to a meeting, while I followed Shis to her place. We floated over the surface like angels gliding on the wind. There was no need to hurry here, because all there is in the here and now, and there would always be more opportunity for whatever was needed.